So Hamid, while you're waiting for him, why don't you tell us how you know Jim?
Yeah, so my name is Hamid Ahmed. I'm an 11th grader at a school called Metro Early College High School. And essentially, uh, I'm he's my mentor. So my school, we have a bodies program, which makes us essentially learn a little bit about healthcare and medical related professions. And every student enrolled in the program has to uh, essentially have an internship. And at the end, it's called a capstone. So we present it, we make up a project, we have our own research, and my teacher is friends with Jim, and she paired me up with him.
Oh, nice. Good person to be paired up with. So you working on the Mars project with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I want to know, so taking all of this valuable information, what are you planning to go into? What's your field of study?
Oh, I like personally, I want to become a doctor. So I want to have greater influence on to society. So this hopefully is something that does have influence to society.
All right, so Hamid and I are here to talk about the biodome. And the biodome is a project that I've been working on for since last year, once I finished the bioreactor, which is behind me. Apparently everything at Mezzocello has the word bio in front of it. But Hamid and I got together, hold on. He is a high school student in Columbus, Ohio, and he is in the bodies program.
Yeah, he said he was in the bodies program, but I'm kind of wondering why it's called the bodies program.
Hamid? Why is it called the
Sorry.
Not like a zombie body exchange kind of thing, is it?
No, not at all.
I'm all caught up on zombie stuff, so I know how to protect myself.
That would be very cool, but it's not that. So essentially, it's a creative name for just saying you're in the medical pathway.
Okay.
Like we have 4 pathways at my school. We have bodies, we have design, we have growth, and then we have energy. So all interesting names, but essentially you have business, engineering, agriculture, and medicine.
I see.
Pretty accurate. All right, Julie, I sent that to you. This is a really fast presentation because we're through the process. But Hamid, his interest is in ER medicine and preventive medicine, really, with a specific focus on trauma. And so when I presented my opportunity to his teacher, Erica Reeves, Hamid and I just kind of hit it off, and we knew that we wanted to have a system for growing food and incorporating a single ecosystem. Hamid's innovation was finding a way to provide services and nutrition to areas around the world that are experiencing hunger or crisis. And so you could unpack this box, hatch the eggs, plant the animals, hook up water of some sort to it, put up the solar panel and the wind turbine, and within 2 months, you would have food. And so we are 1 month into this process. The chicks are hatched, the system is up, the dome is pressurized, the power system is on. And so we wanted to just give you an update of where we were. So this is what we're talking about. This is where Hamid and I have been working together for the last 2 months at my farm in downtown Columbus called Mezzocello. These are 2 images of the farm itself. The area in which we're working is on the left in the bottom right corner. It's one 3-meter square area that we've partitioned off into a dome. Go to the next image. And we're really focused on that back section. The bioreactor is giving us power, water, and telemetry. The birds are giving us the manure that we need. to power the hydroponic systems, and the dome is over that last, like I said, 3 meter square area. Next. This is me and Hamid. So Hamid, take over. Next slide.
So our problem is essentially global hunger and the lack of STEM-focused practical and affordable solutions. Next slide. So I have done research. I'm Hamid, so I have done research on 4 essentially main topics. One being denitrification, the nitrogen cycle, the water cycle, carbon cycle, and renewables. Second, animal needs, feed, water, and waste products. Third, sewer systems of Paris, specifically like French ducts, French drains, and waterborne diseases. 4, weather patterns, solar loads, and areas of conflict, crisis, and soaring global hunger issues.
So these are whiteboards in my office, and poor Hamid, he's like 17, and I drug him over into our office and like, we're just gonna write on this wall. And then a meeting came in, like, okay, we have to move, so let's move to another whiteboard. And we just got a mobile whiteboard, and we just sketched everything out. And these are our sketches. So it's just Hamid and I just throwing ideas against the wall and seeing what would stick. This is my first CAD rendering of what we were going to build. And it was really difficult because this could be extraordinarily expensive. Elon Musk would pay billions of dollars for this on the surface of Mars. But Hamid insisted this be under $1,000. So that was some real world constraints there. So I had to pull my expectations back down, but I'm really glad that we did. These are all the systems that are going in: the structural component, which is the dome itself, the bed planning components, which were already there that I had experimented through COVID and are highly productive, water reclamation components, which Hamid did all the research on and I just implemented, the waste recycling components, which is still up in the air if that's going to work or not, and then the hydroponic components, which Hamid found a YouTube video and we built it. Next.
So previous work / background information. Honestly, this is a pretty new idea, what we've come up with. I haven't seen anywhere in the past, like anything related to this. The closest I have seen to like our idea of a biodome global ecosystem would be a greenhouse. And a greenhouse is, everyone knows what a greenhouse is. It's just essentially somewhere where you can safely keep your plants and they grow lusciously, right? So my project incorporates like how to make a biodome more self-sufficient and its own ecosystem within the outside world's ecosystem. So Mezzocello Urban Farms has the goal of innovating and exploring the urban agricultural space. And we got a grant from the Columbus Foundation. And after that, Mezzocello wants to explore how to use semi-pressurized domes and how to grow food and house animals in it.
The interesting thing about this is we were delayed not only by weather, because until 3 days ago, it was like 4 degrees Celsius here in Columbus, and it was snowing on Monday. But we were also delayed by the fact that we could only build as much as I could afford to pay for out of my pocket, because our grant was also delayed by COVID. So the grant didn't actually come through until last week. So everything we bought, we're having a real world economics lesson on what we can afford to innovate. So here we are.
So the relevance of this culturally is it's solving hunger. And we know hunger is everywhere. Like we'll start with the US. The US in 2020, 10.5%, which is 13.8 million of US households were food insecure, meaning that they did not have enough money or resources to feed and provide for their families. And globally, 47 countries will fail to achieve adequate levels of hunger by 2030. And Southern Africa and South Asia are where hunger levels are the highest. So those are 2 areas where I really want to focus on. So objectives. Our objective is to create a semi-pressurized ecosystem which would be self-sufficient and cost-effective. So criteria, we have variables. We have levels of gases like nitrogen, carbon, and oxygen. We have the size of our dome and the type of animals. And with the type of animals, we have the amount of the numbers of each animal. And constraints, it was time to gather data. We have the weather, because Ohio has some crazy weather, and weekly availability of myself and my mentor. Along with constraints, I'd probably also add the fact that our grant came in very late. And critical design issue, for our dome, it's actually like a fluctuating size. So like when it's too hot, it's like one size, and when it's like too cold, it's another. So like sometimes it just collapses on itself. But I believe we have fixed that problem.
We have. I fixed that this morning. Next.
So materials we will be using hydroponic towers. We will have PVC tubing and then PEX tubing, and we'll have plants growing in there. We will have chickens, we'll have plants, we'll have potatoes. We have a power array, and our power array consists of a 100-watt wind turbine and a 200-watt solar panel. And interesting thing in our project is we have artificial rain. So essentially, we really do have an ecosystem going on around here. I believe it's timed rain. We have a sprinkler system. It's timed, and it will be raining in certain areas of the ecosystem. We also have sensors to test light, carbon dioxide, oxygen, methane, temperature, and then we have a camera watching our animals and everything going on. And we also sensor the pressure and the moisture inside our biodome.
So this is where it stands right now. We have all systems in place. The hydroponic system is installed. The water system is installed. It's flowing, by the way, Hamid, the cups work perfectly.
Awesome.
Perfect. I cut the holes, beautiful. I'm growing the plants. I had to grow the plants inside, and they're growing a little bit slower than I wanted, but they're growing into coconut fiber, because that will go into the cup, and then the cup will go into the slurry that will come out through the top. There's a pump in the base of each of the two towers that pumps water up the two towers, and then it cycles back down through. Everything gets recycled every 10 days. Fresh water and the rainwater is recycled according to how Baron von Haussmann designed the Paris sewer system. It's exactly the same system, which is why I had on doing that research. And we'll see how effective that is. We'll do periodic testing every 90 days on water quality, and we'll see if this is an effective project or not. Everything's coming online, and so is the weather. Thank goodness. Next. This is the dome. Looking out through my security camera, you can see the hydroponic system in place. You can see the planting beds in place, and you can also see an example of the web-based controller for all of the sensor information. We can put that in automatically. We can put it in manually. All the sensors use if then that to coordinate the data, and all the data comes in as an XML feed. Then I could just import in, and occasionally Hamid and I will log in and just do manual checks. So that's our vision for this. Our goal is, once we get it normalized, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Hamid takes a job with us this summer, and we can track it all summer, to make this shareable to the general public, so they can see what's going on while we complete all the white papers we want to write on this. Mind you, Hamid, is this your junior or senior year in high school?
I'm a junior.
Okay, yeah, this is his junior year, and we're writing a white paper in 2 weeks. So next slide.
Summary and next steps. So far, we have completed our CAD designs. We have a chicken coop. We have set up all the sensors. Essentially, we have also completed the biodome, but we will be adding a few more things. And what's next is just gathering data. We'll see the plants growing. We'll see the methane, oxygen, and all the sensors working. And hopefully from there, like, we're going up. So metacognition. So why am I doing this? I want to help lower global hunger numbers. And the reason for that is because I think everyone should have food for themselves, food for their families, food for their loved ones. And I believe in that because I would never want myself or anyone that is close to me, anyone I care about, anyone I know to be in a position that they are hungry because they cannot get their own food. And that is the reason I'm creating this system that allows for people to independently grow themselves food, and they are not having to like be essentially asking people, I need food, I need help. They are all independent. They don't have to be dependent on another person.
And if I may, just a moment, Hamid, this is where Hamid is my mentor, because I just wanted a controlled ecosystem, so I knew exactly how much water I had to use to grow food. Hamid turned this into a global hunger issue, and I couldn't be more proud of him. This is 100% Hamid. And so I tip my hat to you, my friend. You really have pushed me in directions that I never thought I would ever go, but I'm so glad I'm there because it makes perfect sense now. Hearing you talk about it like that is just amazing. So I will leave the questions to you. I'll answer all the technical and economic based questions.
Well, I have a question, Jim, that you'll have to answer.
Okay.
First of all, I have watched you through the last many gifts. This is gift number 9. So I'm not sure if you've missed any yet with your presentations or not, but I've seen a lot of this grow over time. And I'm just wondering, what on earth do your neighbors think they're looking at in your yard, especially with the turbines? And do you have problems or issues with curious neighbors getting a little too close to see what you got going on there?
Yeah, Hamid, do you want to talk about RuPaulster?
I mean, you know more than I do, but
I have chickens, and I want more chickens. And there's only 2 ways to do that: clone them, which is really expensive and technologically cost prohibitive, or have a rooster. But in a downtown metropolis, roosters are illegal. So I have a rooster that has a collar, and it's in drag. And if you don't know in English, drag means it's a man presenting as a woman. So my rooster, who I call RuPaulster after a famous character here in the United States, is how everything happens. And oddly enough, Julie, RuPaulster also aids me in keeping people out of my yard. Because
oh, I know that roosters can be vicious. So what keeps your male chicken hen? I don't know what you call it. What keeps him from cock-a-doodle doing and giving it away?
So roosters and bullfrogs have the same evolutionary system that allows them to fill their chests with air and then quickly expel it.
Yeah.
RuPaulster has a collar that doesn't allow him to fill that.
Ah, I see.
They still crow, but it sounds like a chihuahua.
Yeah. Interesting. One other question that I had for whichever one of you can answer it, I saw a big list of different things that you're using sensors to identify. My question is, has anything surprised you yet or alarmed you when you were looking through the results of that? Anything that kind of led you in a different direction as a result of the result of what came back?
Yes. Hamid, the chicken coop we're going to be putting in the biodome, the reason it's made out of wood is because I was alarmed at the amount of raccoons, cats, and possums on my yard after dark in downtown Columbus. Because everybody's working from home, they're wasting extraordinary amounts of food. And that's pushed our raccoon and possum and rat populations through the roof. So I designed that more improved, much more powerful coop because the system that I was going to have in place would not have been sufficient, because the sensors go off all night long with the raccoons, possums, and cats. So I don't know what I'm going to do, maybe an ultrasonic system, but all my neighbors have dogs and they would hate me. So I just don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe we should talk about this next week, Hamid, how we're going to manage predators in a major downtown urban system. But it's going to have to be dealt with because, you know, the areas where you want to build, Southern Africa and Southern Asia, their predators are next level predators, right? So we really probably do need to figure something out here. I don't know.
Those raccoons are pretty smart. I've got a couple cages on top of my house today, literally waiting for us to catch the ones that are now living in the top of my house.
And if people around the world don't know what raccoons are, they are in the fox family, and they have almost ambidextrous thumbs, and they're great climbers and extremely intelligent and monstrously productive. They're like rats. They reproduce exponentially. If you ask me what the sensor data was telling me, the heat signatures from those animals, I know exactly where their dens are because it's hotter in those spaces where they're coming in and out, and the cameras.
Yeah.
That what really surprises me. So.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep a dome safe around raccoons, let alone some of those other types of animals that are going to be even more industrious across the world. But I have faith that you will be able to figure this out.
We'll figure it out, and we'll try and fail, and we'll try again. But I have a lot of experience with chickens, especially chicks, and Hamid and I have hatched these chicks from eggs, so they're protected, and they're in an the triangular cage is super reinforced, and it also has sensors on it that tell me if something comes close to it, because if they're in their cage, there should be nothing moving on the outside. Those sensors are, they're cheap. We ordered them all through Amazon, and they're all wired, and they all have Bluetooth and IP signatures. So we're tracking it, and we don't know what we're going to come on to. But I mean, if we could put all of this, fertilized eggs and all, into a box and just deliver it, this is Hamid's vision for how to change the world. And we're going to find out how successful it's actually going to be this year.
It's kind of funny. You do realize the two of you have done the most stereotypical yet impossible task. Everyone wants to say, what are you going to do? I am going to feed the world. And you guys are actually doing it. I think that is so cool. Congrats. I would love to see this even further. Please keep us up to date on your progress, on your research, what's going on with the neighbors. I'm curious.
They really do love me. I give them free eggs and fresh vegetables and manure and compost. So, I mean, keep your neighbors happy. But it's really is the rodent population and the transient population, because, it's a rough time right now. And so all those sensors come in handy, keeping people off my property. And, we need solutions. We don't need complaints. We need solutions. And that's what Hamid and I are committed to doing, is solutions.
Wonderful. Well, next event is July 16th, 17th. If you have an update for us, we'd love to see the progress again, see what's going on, and make sure that rooster's still kicking over there.
Hamid, do you want to do it?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. By then, we'll have a lot of data, and all the CAD will be on the website. So you can do it yourself if you'd like, because we don't own this. We want to give this to the world.
That is beyond awesome. That is extra awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you both very much. And Jim, I think we see you again in the morning.
You will, ma'am.
All right. Have a wonderful day. And Hamid, did you say where you are? Or is he's in Columbus right now too, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So still have a nice evening, I should say. We're heading that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamid.
Thank you.